My name is Jan Brown. I'm a woman in long-term recovery, and what that means is I haven't used drugs or alcohol for the past 34 years. Being in recovery has allowed me to serve as the executive director of SpiritWorks Foundation, which is a recovery community organization based here in Virginia with locations in Northern Virginia in Warrenton as well as in Williamsburg, and our center provides recovery support services. Today, I have the distinct honor and privilege to talk with Kim. Kim Carter, you want to take a moment and introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Carter. I'm a grateful recovering addict. I've been living in Williamsburg most of my life. You know, I had struggles with addiction, struggle with my kids being taken away and put in foster care, and getting them back and taken away again. And it's just been a struggle, but I'm here today. I'm clean, I'm sober, and I'm living a good life. And I want people out there to know that there's hope, and you can do the same thing. If I can do it, you can do it.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about you, your background, how you've come to be part of DSS, and we'll go slower than that, but just start wherever you'd like.
I'm 53 years old. I have 8 kids, 8 grandchildren. I was raised by my grandmother. My mother died when I was 7 months. My father, he traveled a lot. He drove trucks. I had a lot of addictions before I even picked up the drugs because I lacked in love at home, I think, being that my mom had died. My grandmother, she didn't really know much about raising teenagers. So I looked for love in all the wrong places. So later on, I was introduced to drugs. And that filled the void as well, of things I lacked at home. I think I turned to drugs because of that reason also.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you when you started having kids and using drugs?
Well, I had my first daughter, which is Tasha, my oldest daughter, when I was 18. And I started using drugs at the age of 23 when I was pregnant with my 3rd child. Well, their dad, he was abusive. And I couldn't understand. He was my first love. I was 17 when I met him. I fell in love. I had these kids by him, and he was all I know. I mean, I didn't work. He took care of us, but he was an alcoholic. He drank, and he abused me. And I didn't really know much about being a parent. It was just thrown at me, so I did the best I could. So eventually, when I started using drugs, it just got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
It got out of hand. I sent them to live with his family.
Okay.
And, because I thought it was going to be a better life for them. But they didn't understand that. They just thought I didn't want them. And that wasn't the case. I just didn't want them to see all the ugly things that was going on in my life. That was just a decision that we as a family made that we thought was best for them.
Good.
Department of Social Service didn't come into my life till later on down the road with my younger children.
So they were young.
They were young.
Yeah.
They were
and
young.
What was going on for you during that time that was what needed to happen?
I just couldn't find my place, I used to live and live to use.
Yep. So drugs.
Yeah.
Did you try to stop using, or it just...
Over and over and over I tried.
What kinds of things? Did you ever get to go to rehab or any of that?
Well, incarceration came before rehab.
Okay.
So, I had gotten in some trouble, and I ended up going to jail. Once I got incarcerated, that's when social service got involved. They took my 3 youngest kids and placed them in foster care. They placed them in foster care. And I had to do parenting classes. They gave me certain things that I need to do before they would return them to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the process of going to court and going to parenting and going to rehab, outpatient rehab. And I did good for a long time. But it's like the more I did, the more they wanted me to do. Everything I did wasn't enough. And I just got frustrated and I started back using. And so, I went back out. I went back out every time. Get my kids for a little while, do good for a little while. Their urge come back and off to the races again.
And all that time, so once reunification happens with your kids, historically did DSS step away, or do they stay with people?
Well, they tried to, like, they tried to help me. I don't think that they stay connected with the kids once they take them from you.
Okay.
You know, because even though I had an addiction, I was using, I love my kids. You know, I love my kids, and there was nothing I wouldn't do for them. You know, my kids are scarred behind this.
So one of the things that DSS could do that would be helpful is do some education and provide some ongoing support for the children, so the children can have some understanding as well, and that they
Yes.
could learn about addiction and learn that they're children of addiction, and be around other children who've had similar experiences, so that they also know that they're not alone.
Because then they will know what to tell the kids. You know, don't just tell them your mom's a bad mom. You know, your mom has a problem. This is addiction. This is what addiction is. You know, they need to let them know. I think they should educate them on that kind of stuff.
Okay. And then you've gotten out of jail, and what's going on in your life today?
Well, I got out of jail, and I went back to the same way of living that I left off as. You know, no housing. You know, no resources. You know, so when I came there, you know, it was a place for me to go. It was a place where everyone's in recovery. You know, and I just got connected with good people. You know, and you need a good support system when you're in recovery.
Absolutely, can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone. You can't. And see, and I tried so many years to do it on my own, but you can't. No matter how long I stayed clean, I always went back. But with a connection, you got people you can call, places you can go, things. You know, it's just a lot that you can do. You know, I changed my life. You know, I changed my circle of friends, my surroundings. You know, I don't do the things that I used to do anymore. You know, and it helps me. And it brought my relationship with my kids together, because they proud of me, you know, to see that I'm trying. Mom, all we ask you to try, you know, and we'll help you any way we can. And they have been. They've been so supportive of me. And it's so good to have a support system, because that make you want to strive to do better and do more, you know.
What made you decide you wanted to do it differently? What was it about this time?
For one thing, I'm getting too old, you know, and I'm tired of living a life of destruction. I'm tired of, you know, disappointing my family, my kids, myself. You know, I just got tired. I think I just got tired of living that same old lifestyle. You know, I just want better, you know. My grandkids are getting older, and I don't want them to see me go through the same thing my kids saw me go through.
So, but what was it like to have to trust a bunch of strangers who tell us about ourselves?
It was hard at first, but I mean, I needed somebody I could trust, you know, and I've learned that I can trust you guys, you know, and it's easy for me to make mistakes and let you know that I made them, you know. I don't have to keep nothing in, hide anything. I can lay it right on the table, and I know I'm gonna have help to get through it. Not just be talked about, put down, or punished. There's hope. You know, don't give up. It's places, it's resources that you can go to, because it was a point in time when I came out of jail with nothing, nowhere to go, didn't know any resources. People didn't offer a lot of stuff that they're offering now. In 20 years, I have my own car, I have my license. You know, I never would have thought in a million years, and I'm clean, you know?
And all of the doors that have been opened.
And all the doors has been opened. There's people out here that love you, there's people out here that care, and I'm one of them. You know, and if I can make a difference in one person's life, I would love to do that. I think a lot of people that works for social service in different places like that, they don't really know, because they haven't walked that walk. All they know is what they read about, what they see on TV or see in films or whatever, but they don't, I mean, they need people beside that live that life, that know the struggle. I mean, because I still struggle today. I still have urges, I still have triggers, but I fight through them with my support group, you know, with help. Because a lot of times they just try to put you through parenting classes, which is good. That's a good thing. But they need to add on recovery, relapse prevention. And then my kids wasn't educated on it either. You know, they was just sent away and they didn't know. They just thought I didn't want them. You know, I feel that they should have been educated on my addiction too, so they would know what I was going through.
And what's next for Kim? Right, you're doing well. You're out.
Well, for one thing, I'm gonna stay connected with my recovery support system, and I'm gonna try to get more people involved. You know, that come out of jail, and let them know they have a place they can come to. So hopefully we can get this recovery house off the ground and just help people coming behind me. I want to help people that come behind me. Let them know there's hope. You know, there's hope is another way of living. Yeah, that's what I would like to see. I would like to see people come out of jail and prisons and get connected with people in recovery because it has changed my life.
So, Kim, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today to answer some questions and to let folks know, you know, what's possible and that there's always hope. And I really appreciate your willingness to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate you asking me to come because if this interview could change somebody's life, I hope it do that, you know. I want to help any way I can to the next addict coming behind me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.